Chapter 10. Breaking up is painful. Do you think that I made a rash decision to come here? After a long time, Kirill finally asked the question that had been bothering him through the phone. They had small talks about their day before this question came up. They are speaking in Japanese. One is lying down on his bed in his dorm room under a dim light. The other one is lying down on a hospital bed in the total darkness of his ward. What do you mean? Taka was confused by the sudden question, despite him being prepared for them to finally have this conversation. Well, I left in a hurry as soon as the border opened. I wasn't completely prepared for what's to come. I came only with information given to me by my PI, and I have no measures or plans to deal with the perpetrator or any suspects at all. And I kind of just left you there. You, my boyfriend, were going through such an important surgery. I wasn't even there for you. Don't you think I'm impulsive? Selfish? Taka smiles. It was a sad smile. He had long known that with Kirill, things like this were bound to happen someday. He had already surrendered to his fate. Kiri, Taka called him by his nickname. You're that person who would jump down from the second floor to chase after a man who had tried to hurt your friend. The guy who would march through a haunted house with a straight face and protected all of us carry cats behind you. The guy people think of as a gang leader who single-handedly beat up random people. You're asking me if you're impulsive? You're kidding, right? You're the most impulsive person I've ever known. Taka laughed as he heard Kirill laughing on the other end too. Spare me from the memories, please. My stupidity knows no limits. Kirill covers his flushed face in embarrassment to think back on his brutish life in New Japan. After they're both done laughing, Taka inhales deeply and begins to speak seriously. Yes, you are selfish too, but your impulsivity and that arrogance are what attracted me to you. He spoke. They get quiet for a moment before Taka finally has the courage to face the issue that he had long avoided. I'm considering it, Kiri, he said. I'm considering your prior offer when you proposed for us to break up. Kirill only nodded and hummed without a word. I know how much your brother's disappearance impacted you. I know he is important to you, and I can win over him. All I wanted to say is that I understand. Taka was holding back his tears. He just sighs softly before he speaks again. Besides, karma will get you anyway for hurting me. I don't have a big heart. I can't forgive you just yet, so I don't wish you happiness. To that, Kirill chuckles a little. He had always been fond of Taka's honesty. He values that the most. He values honesty and sincerity. If someone were honest and sincere with him, he would treat them really well. But unfortunately, Taka and him are always walking on a parallel line. They try from time to time, but their lines never cross one another. They are not fated to be together. But I will miss the sex, Taka added to lighten up the mood. Both of them laughed loud to the statement. I will miss fucking you too, Kirill entertained the mood. I will miss leaving marks on you. Go to hell, Taka cursed. They laugh again. Despite the laughter, they both know it in their heart that breaking up is painful. They would still be friends and keep in contact with one another, but the other person would no longer be theirs. They won't walk on the same path. They won't hate for the same destination. The memories were good, but the memories can both make them happy and sad, because they are now only memories. They are in the past, a past that they can't return to. They had small talks before they said goodbye, and once the call ended, Kirill stares at the number and Taka's name on his call list, knowing it well in his heart that he has lost something great. Maybe he can sort things out again after he found Clement someday, but now he can't keep Taka to himself and be selfish like that. Taka should be free. He doesn't know how long it will take for him to finally find his twin brother, so he should not keep Taka waiting. This is the best for both of them. He turns off the light, as if the darkness can blind his own heart and mind too. Sleep comes easy without any further unwanted thoughts. By this time, Kirill has no idea that someone had already left something in his locker at school. The piece of art is only lying there in wait for Kirill to find, in order to mark the beginning of a haunting. Chapter 11. Resurfaced. It was an origami. It is in the shape of a heart with wings. The moment Kirill saw it, his stomach churns. The origami was left in his locker. He had seen this type of origami before. It was in one of the photos that his PI had shown him. Clement stalkers used to leave this type of origami for him. The shape, the colors, and the little note left on the side were also similar. It was the same font on printed text. An acrostic note was left for him. K-I-R-I-L-L. K for Krasniy. I is. R really. I inexplicably. L looking. L lovely. Krasniy is really inexplicably looking lovely. What in the name of fuck? Kirill heard a voice cursing behind him. It's the voice that he had acknowledged as attractive. Stepan rushes towards Kirill and immediately grabs the origami and notes off of his hand, looking pissed off as hell. This bastard already again, he cursed again as he looked down on the papers in his hand. Stepan never showed his emotions before. He was always calm and smiling, knowing. Seeing this side of him somewhat momentarily hypnotizes Kirill. Kirill responded a little late. He then takes a plain-looking ball pen from the inside of his locker before closing and locking the door. You know what these are? Stepan asked as he flaunts the papers in front of Kirill's face. You know what this means? I know, Kirill nodded. Stepan sighs. How can this guy be so damn calm about something like this? He can't help but feel a little confused with Kirill's attitude. Let's bring this to the principal. She would contact the police immediately, Stepan started to suggest. You know, Clement stalkers are one of the suspects for his disappearance, right? So are you, Kirill thought to himself. Stepan, Kirill called out. He definitely doesn't want to get the police involved at the moment. He doesn't want his movement to be restricted, especially since he had planned on sleuthing to find out more clues from the other suspects. They had been silent for a while, but now that they're back, maybe the police can get them. Stepan refuses to stop blabbering. At that, Kirill pulls him by the arm and pushes him inside one of the closest rooms next to where they were standing. It was an empty classroom. Kirill closes the door behind him and looks up to face Stepan. They stood there in silence for a moment, staring at each other's faces. Why did you pull me in here? Stepan asked, perplexed by the situation. In his head, he can't help but think of all the possible scenarios of what he could have done in the empty classroom with Kirill. I don't want to cause commotion. The less people know about this, the better, Kirill explained, refusing to let Stepan's mind run wild. Suddenly, they heard knocks at the door. Can we enter? Are we going to disturb a hot, intimate session? Andrei asked from outside the door. Fuck off. Both Stepan and Kirill answered at the same time, and they looked at each other in surprise. Is that a no? Andrei asked again. No. Yes. They answered at the same time again. At this, Stepan looks at Kirill and starts to chuckle. Kirill, however, is annoyed. So he walks over to the door and opens it to see Andrei, Stanley, and Alberto standing outside the door. Hot, intimate session, huh? He asked with a clear sign of threat in his eyes toward Andrei. Andrei knows how aggressive Kirill can get, and he for sure doesn't want to get his arm hurt again, so he just smiles stupidly at Kirill in answer. The more help, the better, right? Now that the stalkers have resurfaced, don't you think you need more people on your side, Kirill? Kirill rolls his eyes at him, but still moves to the side to give them space for them to enter. He is sure that he doesn't need help, but before that, he needs to sort things out with his fucktards first.